Okay, so this comes with some nice instructions, fairly short instructions. The first step shows the arms that need to get mounted, and these are already assembled, so you don't need to do this mounting part. Then you've got the arm clips at the end there that they have through holes, a bit like the Hexoon. You can see there's through holes from the base plate and the top plate, and so those will go in later. So the first part is to assemble the battery mounting board and the platform board. So I've got these two clips here. I clip those in there. Looks about right. Clip that the other side. I'm always, like with these sorts of things, you've always got to be on the lookout for things that go only one way round. It's sometimes quite easy to get partially assembled and then realise that things are the wrong way around. You've got to disassemble it all again. So those two go there, and then the battery board is going to mount on top here. You can see the holes here. They're countersunk, so it must go that way around. And you see the countersunk there, and countersunk are M2.5 countersunk screws, which must be one of these. There you go, M2.5 countersunk screws. And, I'm guessing we're going to use a whole pile of these. So get those out, and these have got a little nice hex. Take a hex, and conveniently they've provided all the hex tools in the kit as well, which is great. So I'm sure it's the smallest hex one. Does that fit? Yeah, it does. So I'll just screw that in. This one. And this one. Trying out my new camera arm and lights to try and sort of make things a little bit clearer, which I'd say works pretty well. I quite like all the light I'm getting on this. So that's that. A bit of a tighten there. You can see there's sort of brass insets set into the plastic, so sort of reasonably strong there. And then on this you've got to put in these hanger spaces, it looks like, and a hanger rubber ring gasket, so it looks like that goes in the middle. Goes on the end there. Yep, looks right. Do that one. You can tell from the other picture here where the hangers go at the sort of either end of that battery board. So there's 4 of those, another one on there, another one here. All pretty easy to assemble, really. Which is the idea, of course. You want it to be really pretty easy to assemble, because the fun is, well, the fun's in assembling it, but I think the fun's in flying it and getting it working as well. So another one on there. And then we've got to do 4 more of those. So to mount this battery board on. So I think what I'll do is I'll do those 4, pause the video, and then come back when I've just about to mount the battery board. Alright, I put those 4 on. There's not a great deal of instruction about where these are supposed to come in terms of on these poles. So I've spaced these the spacing that's required by this platform board. Yeah, so these are kind of where the holes, and I put these at the end, which is sort of what they indicate. And then I think once you come to put the base board and top plate on, base plate and top plate on, I think it'll become a little bit clearer. So I stick these screws in. Oops. What I need is a little hex electric driver or something. It would go quite well. So try and get these right. See, that's kind of getting that. Again, you can see the I seem to have missed that somewhere. Not getting that at all. There we go. So the next bit is to put the bottom plate on the bottom, and the bottom plate is one of these big ones, and it's got to be these 4 M3 lock nuts and more of these countersunk screws. It looks like, oh no, socket cap head screws. And like all good manufacturers, they leave you a little spare one in the bag in case you lose one. So that looks roughly like the thing, and the base plate is one of these. Need some scissors to open. So that's the base plate there. It's square here, it doesn't look so square in the thing. There's no countersunk holes on this, so it doesn't look like there's a right way or a wrong way. So it's just those, and then you've got M2.5 by 6 socket cap, which are one of these 2.5.6, these ones, the short ones of these. Put them all in one thing, so 6mm of these short ones here should go on there, and then go on there as well. These squint it up a little bit on here. I think these are probably the hex that's at the next size up. Here it is. So you can see that goes, oops, into the little threaded brass nugget. And this one is the same. Do the other ones a bit later. So you can see it's taking shape there, getting a little bit more. These rubber things are a bit hard to know exactly where they should go. But so that takes 8 of those, and then I see the XT60 holder goes on the bottom here. That's what that's taking. But I quite want to use this one, which has difficult to tell whether that's the same size or not. It'd be annoying if those were slightly different holes. Does that? No. As you'd expect from Holybro, all very nicely decided. So those holes are in the same place. So basically, it's you got some screws that come out up here with the standoffs here. So here are the standoffs. These are M3 times 14, which are not in there. M3 times 14 are in there. Oh, and more standoffs. So these are all M2.5, and then these are all M3, which is why they're in different bags. So these M3 holes coming up here, and now you can see, okay, so now my crucial part of this is you can't get at these holes with this mounted, so I'm going to have to take these off, mount these underneath, and put the standoffs on so that I can mount the XT60. It says XT60 holder. I think these are XT30. So I'll put the standoffs on. I'll put this on. I'll guess figure out where the battery is. I think the battery's under there, so maybe run that through there, and pause the video while I do that. Come back. So you can see with the plate off, it's much easier to mount these standoffs. So that's what I should have done the first time around. You just got to pick the holes that match the thing you're trying to mount, which I think is probably these ones. And these there. Then you can see that the XT60 holder goes on there, and I'll put the lock nuts on top. Tighten it all up again, mount it back on there. I'm not sure whether this is supposed to go through. I guess it might be supposed to go through there. Makes some sort of sense, wouldn't it, if that went through? Or is it supposed to go upside down? I mean, that's the other thing, is I guess this is the base plate. You probably don't want the electronics all exposed, so probably you do it like that. That on there, maybe. Does it fit like that? Or is there stuff in the way? Not quite sure. No, it doesn't fit like that. Doesn't fit like that because there's a little jumper here which I think is too high. Yeah, jumper's too high, so it has to go that way around. Interestingly, it has to go that way around. And then this will go through there, I think. And that can go up to the battery thing there. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I see, this is on the inside. That makes sense. This is on the inside. That's on the inside. The battery is going to be slung underneath with this cable here. See, so there'll be battery straps here holding the battery. That makes sense. That can be that way up. Perfect. And then, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Alright, so I'll screw all that up. Alright, done. So Holybro quite conveniently provided this little spanner here, which is really rather nice for some of these locking washers. I've got a small set of spanners which works quite well, but I have to say that's quite convenient for that sort of thing, so I will gladly add that to my toolkit. So the next thing I've got to do is mount the landing legs, which go in these holes here. Again, you can see you've got the little brass threaded ends here, and they take these M3 8mm, and I guess there's 8 of them, 4 in each, and so I'm gonna mount that there, and then when I've done that, obviously I'll tighten that up both sides. When I've done that, again, same size. Oh no, up to the bigger hex. 3 different sizes of hex here, which is nice. And when I've got those all in, I will put the landing legs in, which look like this, and not sure whether there's a good way. I'll probably just loosen those a bit. Yeah, loosen a little bit. That loosens a little bit. I think there's any holes here. I'll just slot in there, and I can tighten that up. So I'll finish. Wrong side. I'll finish putting those 2 legs on, and the landing gear crossbar. Pause the video, and we should be close to putting the arms on at that point. Alright, so that's on. You can see I've mounted the feet on the bottom, tightened these all up. I did actually have to tighten these screws as well because they weren't that tight. It gave an interesting crack as I was tightening it, so you've got to bear in mind that these plastic parts are not the strongest in the world, and obviously the end of a carbon fibre pole is, despite the strength of carbon fibre, is not super strong. But there we go, that seems to be mounted, landing gear mounted. And so the next thing to do is mount the motors and the top plate. And this is always the very challenging part, because you need 16 hands. Well, not quite. 8 hands would be nice, but yeah, certainly to hold all the pieces in place, you usually use a little bit of a juggling act, because all you got to do is put the plates in place, put the screws in, whilst all keeping it together. And Holybro have conveniently labelled the motors. So you'll see on the top plate here there's M1, M2, M3, M4, which is should be the RG Pilot motor ordering, and it wants the front going that way. Not 100% clear which is the front and which is the back of this. I see. Depth camera might go on these poles on the front here. I see, in GPS on the back here. So this would be the front this way. So front that way, and then we've got all of these clamps that take these, and can't tell whether these are all the same or slightly different. They look like they're all the same. Can't see anything radically different. I mean, they came in 2 different bags, but basically those are going to go on there. The motors are going to go on here, and that says M1, so the motors, for instance, this motor will go in there, and there's a little lug that takes, and then this goes on top here, and this is always the challenge. So you get all these screws through the holes with the mounting plate on top. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably do one like that, because I think I've got enough hands to hold one together, and once I've done one, then I can probably slot in the others a little bit more easily, I suspect, because there's a little bit of flex in this. I won't tighten this fully up, but I'll get enough of it on. So I shall well, I'll just show you. Get a few of these, So the bolts are going down, and then the lug there. One. Bolts going down through a hole here all the way to the bottom. Maybe with a little help from my trusty hex driver. That's nearly poking out the bottom. Yep, poking out the bottom now. Put a nut on the bottom. Which actually the little Holybro tool will do very nicely, I think. There we go. That makes it a little bit easier. Where the bar is in the way. And then I'll just do that corner as well. So just the opposing corners. Nut on there. just sort of a very loose fit, and I think with a loose fit with the screws, and probably not loose enough there, but the screws a little bit undone, so there's a lot of play in there. I should be able to slot the others in, observing the motor order, and because you see they're quite light, these. So for instance, if I just do the next one, so we're looking for M3 there, M3 conveniently labelled here. Another one of these here, just get that in the lug there, and then I should, with any luck, be able to just pop that in without forcing it too much. There we go. I need the lug to be in both ends, which I think it probably is. No. Slot a couple of screws through there. Couple of nuts on the bottom. Obviously, as I work my way around, it becomes a little bit tighter, so you just have to be a bit careful about that. But you can see, even with it very loosely fitted, it's sort of holding up. So I'll do the other two, add in the rest of the screws, come back. Alright, that's all four on. I haven't tightened them up. What I've done is, actually once I've got the first two in, the other two would just sit in there without even any bolts and nuts on, so it was pretty easy really. So what I've done is just checked round the exit from the arms, just that there's nothing, they're not about to pinch the wires. There's nothing worse than pinching the wires and then the whole thing fails. So yeah, and then I can just tighten these up. But the other thing to also with this sort of thing, you just got to remember this. You want to tighten these nuts and bolts. I mean, like don't just tighten one as far as it goes and then tighten the next. You want to sort of do them in stages, so that you get sort of even pressure on the clamp, and then that way it sort of goes in a bit more nicely. So you can see I'm just going around this a few turns at a time. It works pretty well. Okay, and that's where it's starting to bite. So the actually seems fairly good tolerances here, because what you can see is, I'll just show you, starting to bite there. You can see that the clamp there's not much of a gap there, but also notice how I've got the gap is even, and you sort of get that if you go around in sequence, whereas if you just yank one down, you can get the things sort of skewed. So I'll again, it's all plastic, so you have to be a little bit careful, but you can probably make this reasonably tight until there's not a lot of give here. Obviously the stiffness of the arms with the base plate makes a massive difference to the tune. So if these arms, and not only the stiffness but also the arms need to be dead flat, which is why they've got the lugs on the inside of these. So it's important that these are tight, so you get a very stiff base plate body to arm. If you've got any sort of flex, the tune is gonna be hard. You have a hard time getting a good tune. So I'll tighten all the rest of these, and I mean, that's basically the base done as far as I can tell. I mean, then I've got to start mounting hardware, which is basically GPS and a flight controller. I'm a little worried that I see the platform board can go upside down, so maybe that's supposed to go. There's like, maybe that's supposed to go like that. It seems quite big. No, maybe it'll just go on top. That's probably the right thing to do, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I'll finish tightening those off, and that's basically the frame done, which is pretty good. That took me an hour. I mean, it's really very quick. Nice, easy to assemble frame. Oh, final thing, of course, is the motors. So you got the motor wires here, which will need to be fed up probably through here to the main flight controller, and then the motor power will need to clip onto these. Just about see that it clips onto those. Actually doesn't matter which one is which, this is just power. It's the thing that matters is the just push fit on the XT30. The thing that matters is these cables, obviously the order matters. So yeah, pretty easy.